From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the daily news for June 16th, 2026. These are the stories we are covering at this hour. Trump's Iran deal greeted with skepticism and scrutiny on Capitol Hill, as well it should be. You see, Republicans on Capitol Hill said Monday they need more information about the agreement between the United States and Iran, announced by President Donald Trump, and some are expressing skepticism as they ask the White House for details. The agreement announced Sunday to end the war in Iran, set for a ceremonial signing Friday in Geneva, is centered around the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz and lifting the United States' naval blockade in the region, along with financial incentives for Iran if it meets certain benchmarks. But Senate Republicans and Democrats who returned to Washington on Monday said there were still many unanswered questions about the deal, and they need thorough briefings before it's finalized. I just don't know enough about it, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, the Republican of South Dakota, told reporters in the Capitol. Even the people who follow this stuff closely up here don't know that much about it. Congressional leaders and Intelligence Committee generally receive higher-level intelligence briefings before rank-and-file members, and they are notified of major developments before they are announced. But Thune said he had not been personally briefed on the deal. I think that my understanding of what it entails, and again, not having seen anything, it would require, I think the issues are going to be compliance. And how are you going to enforce that, Thune said. In other news, leaders at the Group of Seven summit of major industrialized nations face a packed agenda on their first full day Tuesday, including challenging discussions on ending Russia's war in Ukraine and addressing the Middle East crisis. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy will be in attendance at the invitation of host France. The Ukraine talks come on the heels of U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement of an agreement to end the 3.5-month-old U.S. war against Iran. In recent weeks, the Iran conflict has overshadowed the war in Ukraine that Russian President Vladimir Putin launched more than 4 years ago. Trump said he had good conversations on Sunday with both Zelenskyy and Putin. And now that this Iran is finished, we're going to be focusing on that, he said, speaking during a bilateral meeting Monday with French President Emmanuel Macron. Macron said he will seek to persuade Trump to continue supporting Ukraine and increase pressure on Russia to help reach a peace agreement. Hours before the start of the G7 summit, Russia fired hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles at Ukraine's biggest cities in a barrage that killed 11 people and set fire to a religious landmark. Turning to news from Pennsylvania, skill games are unlawful under Pennsylvania's Gaming Act and Crimes Code, the state Supreme Court ruled Monday. The decision strikes down what the Commonwealth's highest court called a pair of deeply flawed lower court rulings that allowed the slot machine-like gambling devices to spread across Pennsylvania in a legal gray area beyond the reach of gaming authorities and law enforcement. Thriving therein, the devices now may be found not only in taverns, restaurants, and social clubs, but also in mini-marts, gas stations, grocery stores, laundromats, pizza parlors, and various other establishments throughout Pennsylvania, even some dedicated solely to the purpose, Justice David Wecht wrote in a 66-page decision for the 4-2 majority. Since the Intermediate Commonwealth Court ruled in 2023 that skill games are not slot machines as defined by state law, the devices have been the subject of legislation seeking to outlaw them altogether, with lawmakers noting detrimental effects, including increased crime and the exposure of children to gambling. Wecht noted that many placed, quote, reasonable reliance, end quote, on the Commonwealth Court's decisions. We are further mindful of the potential disturbance that our correction of the prevailing case law may cause to business owners and others good faith participants in the industry, the lead opinion says. And for that reason, the court stayed the decision for 4 months, during which no law enforcement agency is to take action against owners and operators of the machines. He also wrote that the court reached its decision as a result of interpreting existing statutes and that the General Assembly could take whatever action it deems appropriate. And that's the news at this hour. PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, Roku, Alexa, and wherever you find streaming radio. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.